Hi, it's Jen from Dream Prague. One of my viewers, Sir Mac, asked me to do a video comparing the Christmas traditions of the United States with the Czech Republic. Well, the United States is pretty big, and I'm from California, and we do things a little differently. To me, Christmas is totally bonkers in the Czech Republic, particularly in Prague. Probably because I'm from Southern California, and if we're not surfing on Christmas, then we're decorating a palm tree in our bikinis. But in Czech Republic, especially Prague, at Christmas time, it's like living in a fairy tale. So in this video, I'm going to compare some of the Christmas traditions of the Czech Republic to those of my native state of California in the United States. I'm sure every Czech family does it differently, just like we do in California. So if I got it wrong, or if you want to tell me about another Czech tradition that you practice with your family, let me know in the comments below. So first of all, what do we eat? Americans eat a very big meal on Christmas Day, the 25th. Essentially, it's just like Thanksgiving dinner, round 2. That's dikuzdani. About a month after Thanksgiving, right when all of the leftovers have started to dwindle, we make it all again. We eat turkey and ham and potatoes, sweet potatoes, vegetables, stuffing. For dessert, we eat fruit pies, which are basically like big kolač, and my grandmother always made her famous lemon squares. I feel like the Czech food tradition kind of reflects the Czech personality because they eat what apparently nobody likes. Every time I ask a Czech about what they're making for Christmas dinner, they always tell me and then they say, "Oh, but I don't like it." The Czechs start the meal with fish soup. You see where this is going. Potato salad is a must, and oftentimes it's made with kopr or dill. Now I've heard some very strong feelings about whether to add kopr or to leave it out. I have no opinion on this. You go ahead and fight it out in the comments below. And the main course is fried carp. Carp is very prolific in the southern Bohemia region, and they have giant man-made lakes there with lots of carp. Now, I suppose if you're country folk, you go out with your grandfather and fish your own carp and serve it up for dinner, but Praguers don't have that kind of time. So what they do is they bring giant pools, like kiddie pools, and they put them on the main corners in the city and they fill them with carp. And you go there and you pick out a carp, which are like big fish, and the fishmonger there will put it in a bag and you take it away alive, still flopping. Or if you're a little squeamish, the fishmonger will chop off its head right there for you. Apparently, some Czech families bring home the live carp and they put it in their bathtub for a few days for their kids to torment, I assume. And after that, the fish will meet one of two fates. Either dad will take a frying pan and smack it on the head and mom will deep fry it and serve it up for dinner. Or if the family has found their conscience, they will pack their children and pack the carp and take it to the Vltava River where they will set it free and it will die shortly thereafter. Presumably then mom would go to the shop and buy a carp fillet and serve that for dinner. So Czechs have for dessert vanočka, which is like a Christmas cake, and they also have cukroví, which is these are little cookies, very often cut with lots of different shapes, and there are several layers, and there's sometimes jam or chocolate in between them and powdered sugar, and you are absolutely inundated with cukroví all month long in every office, in every classroom, and every student will give them to you, but thankfully they're not as heavy as American fudge, which we tend to fill up on during December. Cukroví, on the other hand, are nice and bite-sized, so you can try a lot of different varieties. Now, Czechs are the most atheistic country in Europe, but that doesn't necessarily stop them from going to church on Christmas Eve. In fact, Christmas Eve is the day that most of the celebrations take place. They're not supposed to eat any meat on the 24th, but I think that a lot of them forego the carp and eat schnitzel instead. So tell me, if you're Czech, do you eat the carp or is that just for show and then you eat a schnitzel after that? Let me know in the comments. So those who succeed in fasting until dinner, or not eating meat until dinner, I'm not sure, will see a golden pig in the sky. This is supposed to bring good luck. So far, not a single Czech has gone through the entire day without eating meat, and so the golden pig is still at large. And the Czechs have a lot of superstitious ways of determining your luck for the new year. They throw molten lead in water and try to read the shapes that come out. They light candles in little walnut shells and set them afloat and try to let them determine what your relationships will be like in the coming year. So if you know any of these Czech traditions and can more fully explain it to me, I'd love to read them in the comments below. As for America, we're quite a religious country, and I personally grew up in a very Catholic but very disorganized family. Between waking up on the 25th, opening presents, having breakfast, and playing with presents, we never made it to Mass until the very last Mass in all of Los Angeles, 7 p.m. on the 25th at Our Lady of the Valley, which was all in Spanish, which none of us understood. But good Catholics, we made it to Mass. American children get presents in the following way. Children write letters to Santa Claus telling him what they want, and they send those letters to the North Pole. That's where Santa lives. He has a factory, a workshop with hordes of elves, and they make all the presents, and Mrs. Claus feeds them cookies and hot chocolate and keeps the whole thing running. Santa has a list of bad children and good children. The good children get what they ask for, the bad children get a lump of coal. On Christmas Eve, when everybody's sleeping, Santa goes all around the world in his sleigh with 12 reindeer, and he lands on the roof and he shimmies down the chimney and he puts presents under the tree and in the stockings. Children leave Santa basically cukroví, small cookies, so he can have a snack on his way. All this seems very logical, very reasonable. The Czechs don't have Santa Claus. And as I started to research this, I understood just how serious they are about not having Santa Claus. They have similar traditions to Santa Claus, but it's broken into two parts. On December 5th, Czechs celebrate Čert a Mikuláš Day. That's Mikuláš, St. Nicholas, and he goes to schools and he goes through town and he has an angel and a devil with him. So Mikuláš is a man in a big beard and a white robe, and he will ask the children if they've been bad or good. If they've been good, we'll give them a fruit or a candy, and if they've been bad, Čert, the devil, will take the children away in a sack, apparently. The leftover children then read Mikuláš a poem or sing him a song. So that's the naughty and nice portion of the event. Then on Christmas Eve, Ježíšek comes to visit. Not to be confused with Ježíšek. Ježíšek is the affectionate name for baby Jesus. Okay, this seems plausible, it's his birthday after all. But he's not really Jesus. He's not like the baby Jesus that grows into big Jesus. He's just the Jesus that delivers the presents as a baby. Stick with me here. So I asked my Czech friends and Czech students, well, what does Ježíšek look like? What does he wear? He's a baby. He's Jesus. Use the fantasy. So I asked, how does he get to your house? Does he have like a baby sleigh? No, he flies. Oh, does he have wings? No. Okay, so where does he get the toys? Does he have like elves with him? Or maybe baby apostles that help him assemble everything? No. No. Does he like buy the presents? Maybe. Is any of this making sense to you? Because I feel like it's requiring a lot of leaps of logic. Moving on. So I've heard that this is how it goes. The children don't decorate the tree, but the tree is in one room of the house. And that at some point in the day, the children will hear a bell coming from that room, and they will rush into the room, and the tree will be totally decorated, and there will be presents under the tree left there by Ježíšek, who flew out the window. You just missed him. Just don't ask any questions and eat your carp. And apparently, Ježíšek has been at the center of a geopolitical struggle for the last 70 years. Apparently, during the 1950s, the Communist Party was really not big on Catholicism. They tried to introduce Děda Mráz, or Grandfather Frost, who apparently is an old Slavic pagan tradition that even predates Christianity, and they tried to kind of get rid of Ježíšek. But the Czechs are stubborn people, and they were not giving up Ježíšek so easily. Then, after the Velvet Revolution, capitalism rode right on in along with Santa Claus, and they even had a rally in the center of Prague with 80 Santas in like the late 90s, trying to introduce the children to the idea of Santa Claus, and apparently the children didn't know what to do. One child forgot to ask him for presents and just read him a poem, thinking he was Mikuláš and wondering where baby Jesus was, and it was all very confusing to the Czech children. And the kids were like, who is this dude? And there's even a movement called CZECHS Ježíška, and it's Save Baby Jesus. Basically, save him from the influence of the West, from the influence of Santa Claus.
Před Kusťochem bez tradice, záchraňte Ježíška, symbol Vánoc Bacovice.
And they're trying to rid all of the Christmas paraphernalia of this invader from the West, from the North. And now I feel really bad that I ever tried to teach my Czech students about Santa Claus. The organization Zachraňte Ježíška encourages you to dress up like snowmen and take to the streets with the slogans, "We have survived Grandfather Frost, we will survive Santa Claus." So if you're lucky enough to spend this Christmas in the Czech Republic, just leave your red hat at home. Respect the Ježíšek, and maybe you'll find yourself with an excellent piece of fried carp. In the comments, I'd love to hear about your Czech family's Christmas traditions. See you next week.